made a video yesterday about the front-wheel drive Commodore, and it was a bit of a mess. I'm going to try and tidy it up a bit before I put it out there, but there's been another article that's came out today about a report done. It was commissioned by the South Australian government, and one of the inputs was future production for Holden. It was basically to understand the viability of manufacturing automobiles in South Australia and in the Australian industry as a whole. And since that report has come out, there's quite a few recommendations out of it, and I'll go into that with a bit more detail in the future. But here's some thoughts that I recorded a few days ago. I guess some of them are a little bit more pertinent now, so tell me what you think. Just had to make a quick video this morning. Because I had a little moment of realization. It was still a bit scrappy, but I'm just going to throw the pieces all together and you can tell me what you think. Obviously, there's going to be a pretty big change for Holden locally when it comes to their manufacturing operations. Now, it appears that the Liberal government, the new coalition, isn't going to pull the rug out of the automotive industry straight away. They're going to maintain the commitment put forward by the Labor government, and they're not going to cut the $500 million that they said they were going to before the election. At least not until after they've had the Productivity Commission, which is good. That's the way it should be. They should have a Productivity Commission first before they decide to take any action. However, the other big question is, if manufacturing continues, which I believe it will, because they're reporting in the media at the moment that during the December Christmas period shutdown at the factory, they're going to be making some changes with respect to what can be built. So they're going to be updating the line for the next product range. Now, I thought that'd be a little bit early, but I'm not really au fait with how long it takes for them to get a line started and how much work they have to do to make sure the process works correctly and all that sort of thing. But you're looking at around about 2016 for the next product, allegedly, so the VF Commodore is going to continue up until then. But it's good news that they are doing changes to the actual production line, because that means that production is actually going to continue, and I would expect that to be beyond 2016, with the proviso that the Liberal government don't stuff it up and start pulling money out. Again, another report that's come out in media recently has demonstrated the same thing that I pointed out last pre-election, that the investment that we put into the automotive industry as Australian taxpayers, we get a much better return. It's not actually costing us money, it's making us money. So why would you get rid of it? It's a pretty stupid question, really, but somebody official had to quantify it, and they have, and it's to the order of around about 14 times the investment comes back as a return. So for $500 million, we're getting about $7 billion revenue back as far as a country goes. So what are they going to build? What is this new product that they are going to be making in Elizabeth? I would like to say that it's a new one of these. I'm driving a VE Series 2 Commodore wagon that I bought with my own money. And I bought it with my own money because it is a good practical vehicle with respectable performance, good fuel economy, and very good handling. Personally, I think it's got very good handling because of the configuration. So it's a rear-wheel drive product. It's got a front engine, driven rear wheels, and a transmission in the middle here. Really, Josh Dowling has been reporting for quite some time that the next vehicle is going to be a large front-wheel drive sedan. And again, that report popped up again. I'm not sure whether that came from Josh Dowling or not, but when I was stepping out of the bakery this morning, I looked across and I saw a Hyundai i45, I think it is, And it struck me that it's got quite a high point where the bonnet is, like where the bonnet starts, because you've got all that mass sitting forward in a front-wheel drive car. The front end of them has quite a bit of overhang. Now, when you compare it to a rear-wheel drive car, the overhang is not as extensive, and the bonnet line is a lot lower because the engine sits further back behind the front axle. I've driven a few VF Commodores now, and one of the key points about the cosmetic change is that it has a lot more visual bulk at the front. Now, call me crazy, but personally I think that means we're getting the Camaro. Have I thrown you yet? Okay, so there's all the bits and pieces. Let's organise it into some sort of sane representation of what may come to pass. Ford have already cancelled local manufacturing. They've cancelled, it's not going to happen. And the biggest uproar from Ford Australia fans obviously is the performance side, because the Ford Falcon is quite a good performing vehicle. It's rear-wheel drive. It does have a performance-focused product in the XR6. There's, Ford do have a performance-oriented product in the XR6 Turbo. They've also got the GE6 Turbo, which is sort of like a slightly more luxurious variant, but it still does have the hypo inline 6 turbo Barra engine, which is a very impressive power plant. So obviously Ford Australia fans were quite disappointed that Ford Australia is going to close. There's a few other products that you lose as well, like the Territory and the Ute. However, as I guess a bit of a distraction, or I guess a bit of mitigation for the performance fans, Ford Australia announced that they will indeed be getting the Ford Mustang. Can you see where I'm going? So potentially, if Holden has given us the VF Commodore, which has more visual bulk, which is not too dissimilar from the visual bulk of comparative size front-wheel drive sedans currently on the market. If Holden are preparing us for a front-wheel drive future with the Commodore, then they're going to need something to mitigate that performance-related outrage, and that potentially is a Camaro. There is, of course, one other side of the story where maybe the Camaro doesn't turn up and we get the Chevrolet SS imported here, which would be somewhat ironic, since the Chevrolet SS is currently made in Elizabeth. So what's the benefit of all that? Why would they bother shifting it all around when we're already building the Chevrolet SS here? Why would they not just import that to the US? It's too expensive, basically. I've always been of the opinion that if Australian manufacturing is going to continue, they're probably going to need to sell a premium product. That's exactly what the Chevrolet SS is, so I guess I'd be disappointed if they didn't continue on with that trend. However, in order to create a significant volume, I guess they're going to need to sell a repackaged Commodore product. And that may well be front-wheel drive, because the front-wheel drive products, the more modern platforms, have already been developed and they're ready to use. So there's not as much development cost. They can bring it on a lot faster, and they can also respond to market changes a fair bit quicker as well, because that platform is already deployed across the world. So whether you need information from Opel, or whether you need information from Chevrolet, or even GM's international operations in China, it doesn't matter. You're operating on a global platform, and that makes the development of the actual product itself cost less. Grandma's where?
Grandma.
Look, Digger.